Y'all look lovely, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, good evening, great evening to the north, the south, the east, and west. I have two dynamic guests that are going to join me tonight. But before I bring them forefront, I want to welcome you all to season 3 of She Speaks TV, empowerment, education, and inspiration from the north, the south, and the east, and the west. And you guys know I love tapping in to those who are getting it done, talking about how they got it done, giving you tips and tricks and keys for life in action. So I just want to say welcome back to She Speaks TV. And tonight, I have the distinct honor and pleasure of bringing to the stage tonight. I'll start with this lovely beauty. She hails all the way from Jersey. She's an amazing designer. I'm going to let her tell you her story. She's an amazing designer. She is also the CEO of Brow Boutique. More than importantly, I had an opportunity of meeting this beautiful woman as she showcased her collection at Noir Fashion Week during season 4. And then, of course, she traveled over the pond and did it again in Paris. And so I feel like tonight, who else to talk to you about what it means to allow the gifts that you have within you to make room for you. So with further ado, I'm going to bring to the forefront Miss Tanya Brown. I want to welcome you first as our first guest tonight. How are you, darling?
I'm good. Thank you. And thank you for such a wonderful, warm, embracing intro. Appreciate that. Mm-hmm. At first, I didn't know you were talking to me. At first, I was like, who's about to come? But that's me. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to have you. I'm excited to get into this conversation. But before we do that, my brother all the way from the Texas big old state. I'm sorry, you're in Florida, honey, where palm trees and warm weather may escape some of us, but not all of us. We're missing it up here in Georgia. This gentleman is the CEO and founder of My Fashion Affairs. You're going to love his story when we talk about what inspired him, how he got into the field. He also just showcased as an emerging designer at Noir Fashion Week in New York for season 4, and we know he's got some big things happening. So we're going to have a conversation tonight because, again, I want to introduce to the floor Mr. Nick Castro. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for inviting me and having me.
Absolutely. Well, welcome both of you to She Speaks TV tonight, and I'm gonna jump in here because I know that the people want to know. Let's start with you, Tanya. When did you know that you had a gift?
Well, I think I always knew. I always knew that I had a thing for fashion and dress up and just putting it all together. And it came so innate and it came so easy and organic and it flowed and it was natural. And I think I always knew it. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. That was the thing. And when you get caught up in your life situations and doing your goal-oriented stuff in life. We all did some things. And then there was that gift. That gift you always knew you had, but you didn't have time to take care of and to nurture. I think that was the thing for me. I don't think I ever didn't know. I just didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't know how it was going to play out. I didn't know which direction it was going to take. But I knew it was there. And I knew that I wanted to do something with it. I just didn't know when it was going to happen.
I love that. Can I ask you just per se, at what age did you get started?
Well, see, if you read my bio, I think my love, and I think because when I think about how it all, like where, right? I always go back to my parents because my mom and dad grew up in an era where they dressed up all the time. So when I see the black and white pictures and photos, they are so fly all the time.
And
when I think about it, my siblings, we all have this thing where we just like to dress up and look sexy and wear nice things and put it together and look good. So I want to say that it's probably been like brewing, and I just didn't know, right? But I knew, but I didn't know. So when you ask me that question, when I have to think about where did it come from, I always say my parents. My parents did this. My parents did this for sure.
I love how you said that because the other day, it's funny, I was looking at a picture of some ancestors that I got from my uncle. And I said, man, they were dressed to the nines.
They were dressed up for no reason. Yes.
No reason. We go into the grocery store. We need to pick up some greens and some chicken, and we're going to be dressed to the nines.
And that's when the men wore suits and they wore the pointy shoes and they wore the hats. Really fancy.
They were about the details.
Love it.
Nick. What about you? Same question. When did you know? When did you tap in and know that you had a gift?
I honestly didn't even know that I had a gift. I just knew that I like to be presentable and dress up. I've never been a slim guy. I've always been a big guy. And I always said to myself, I can't be big and sloppy. I'm gonna be big, I'm gonna be fitted, I'm gonna be fly. I'm gonna present myself how I want to present myself. But then, all the way down to like elementary school, I've always loved clothes and fashion and shoes and till I started winning these notables I didn't even apply for. In middle school, I was like best dressed. In high school, I was best dressed. I mean, then I it kind of dawned on me when I started getting all these random people and family and friends coming up to me asking me for my opinion on certain things, or can I help them find, something to wear for this event, put stuff together. I was like, yeah, I like doing that. I like shopping. So it wasn't like, oh, I knew I had this. I just enjoyed it. It was something I always enjoyed doing.
I had an opportunity to have a very at length conversation with you, and your inspiration, Nick, for starting My Fashion Affairs. Talk about that for a moment. Who inspired you, and what was their greatest impact on you? I honestly, I want to hear. I think the audience needs to hear this.
There's a lot of things that inspire me, but the biggest thing is, I have a bad habit. I shop a lot. I like buying a lot of stuff, and it really dawned on me, during COVID when we was home. I didn't realize that I was really getting a lot of stuff delivered to the point where my wife was accusing me of like cheating on her. First, it started off jokingly, and I was like, oh okay, because the doorbell kept ringing. It was UPS, it was FedEx, kept delivering stuff, and she literally kept saying, you cheat on me. And that's kind of like where, I've always wanted my own clothing line. I just felt like, I was like, damn, am I too old to start one? I mean, my trajectory on my career path kind of went different. I wanted to get in fashion, but it didn't pan out that way. But then I started, hearing about other people who are a lot older, like Virgil, that was a big one. He was in his, 30s when he, fully
I
got.
was gonna say define old, Nick.
Right.
Well, I'm not in a. I wish I would just start a lot younger. Let's put it that way. I wish I would have been in a lot younger. But had I not gone through what I gone through, I would have never been, blessed with the opportunity to start, My Fashion Affairs.
Right, because it says your gift will make room for you. It didn't say at what age it'll make room for you. Eventually, it will make room for you. Can I ask you, how young are you? I think that's inspiration to someone listening here, since you feel like the KFC of fashion. Talk about that.
I am 41.
Okay. Okay. Never too young. Thank you, and very much.
But anyway, that's where the brand, actually, the name came about as well. My wife was accusing me cheating on her. I was like, okay, with clothes.
Oh, cute. Yeah.
So that's where My Fashion Affairs came from.
Like it.
Wow. Brown Boutique, Miss Tanya, what about you? Who or what inspired you, and how has that had an impact on your brand?
I don't know. I think it's all about trends for me. I think I've always watched fashion, always watched people dressing up, you see it. And when you have that thing, you can see it, you can see fashion, you can see good looks, and you can see it just makes you want to know, right? So when I often would look at different fashion lines and clothing lines and people who are producing lines and be like, I want to do that, right? But once again, my career was in a different path. So I don't even think I ever thought it really happened, honestly. I thought it'd be one of them things. We all have these things we want to do. So I thought it'd be one of those things I wanted to do, but I never knew. And that's how God will move, because
talk about it.
It's so crazy. Like I knew I had it in my back pocket, but I didn't know how it was coming out the back pocket, right? And it happened so suddenly. Not to reiterate, but once again, I know where it starts from. I will give my parents the credit for this forever, right? because I know what I know. But with that said, I think I'm inspired just by seeing things develop and seeing people make things happen and knowing that if they can do it, I can do it too. Just, I think the whole thing is knowing how to get there. I don't think Nick, because I've seen your fashion line, and I don't think I can speak for your thing. And I know for me, it's not a question of do we have it, it's how do we get there? How do you right?
So identifying that you have it, then putting yourself on a roadmap to get to the destination that you so desire. Talk about that inspiration, that plan, that road that you put yourself on, and how it has influenced. Tanya, take the lead on this. How has that influenced or inspired your current collection? Because you bring sex appeal out. You know you're clothed and swagged and cute. And God, I won't take away.
I feel like that's who I am, and it's so crazy because I don't think when I was So for those who don't know, it all got birthed inside COVID. We're all home. I finally got time to do these things I haven't had time to do, so I focus, right? So I had this sketch pad. It's so crazy. I feel like God set me up. I just didn't know He was setting me up because I had the sketch pad in my drawer forever. Like I went out and bought a sketch pad with the intention of using it at some point, right? And didn't have time, so it's sitting somewhere. And now here's the time where we all have time. I pull it out and I start sketching. And lo and behold, when the pieces come to life, you're right. They're so me. They're sexy. They're conservative. They got a little sharpness to them, a little classiness to them, a little sex appeal. You know, they little teasing a little bit. It had so much of my personality in these pieces. And I got to tell you, when I was doing it, I was just sketching what I thought was cute, what I like to wear, just putting it together, making sense of it, tweaking that, doing that. And look what and it became.
I'm over here peeping and I'm like, okay, what is this shirt doing? This collar, high neck. Yes, honey. She got the hair flowing, the beat going. Again, bringing it back, and you did it in a space of isolation.
Yes.
Yeah, you got sat down and you seized an opportunity to create magic. How did it feel seeing? Though I got to see the blues and the sexiness hit this runway. How did that feel? Being at Noir Fashion Week, you saw your collection go down the runway. What did it do for you right then and there?
Okay, so let's start from real fast from when I finally see it on the mannequin, right?
Yes.
I go. That's a whole story. We don't have time of how we get to that part. When I finally get there and I see it on the mannequin, I'm like, oh snap! Like I see my sketch in real time. I was blown away. Like I was speechless. I was like, this is really happening. If I had not gotten any further than that moment, it was a win.
Yes.
Right? Because you think about what you want to happen, you put it on paper, and then to see it come to fruition, that was a win in itself, right?
Yes. Yes.
So now the whole Nicole we meet, it happens, everything's happened like this.
Magic.
And then I see my pieces on these women, and I'm like, ooh. This is what I've been waiting for. Because my story goes, it takes a lot to get from the paper part to this part, longer than normal. So I'm sitting in it for a long time. I'm just sitting there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm uneasy. I'm a little antsy, a little agitated. I want to see it go to the next level. I want to get past this chapter, right? So now I see them walking in the pieces. And for me, that's the grand finale. Isn't that what we wanted?
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So, let me tell you something. That whole experience to me, give and take whatever you want, I wouldn't take back for nothing. Because it was the journey I'm supposed to walk to get to where I need to be at. Right?
Wow. So
so many amazing things happen in the mix of everything that I will always hold true to me. Right? And there. Because I wanted to see people walking them. I wanted to see how it looked. Could they rock it the way I felt it should be rocked? Like, can they wear it the way like? For me, I've gained a lot of weight, so I can't wear my pieces at this point. When I was 8 years ago, I could wear my pieces. So that's a little problem for me. I think I want to rock my own pieces. I want to show you how it's supposed to. I want the swag, the feel, everything that goes with it. I can't give it to you. So to see somebody else in the pieces, I was like, okay, all right, like bring it to life. I needed the life in it. So it was amazing. I wouldn't change it.
So if I'm hearing you, so here's what I heard, because we're talking about your gift making room for you. And for those of you that are tuning in tonight, I need you to understand that you have two emerging designers who took their collections from the manifestation, as you just heard Tanya talk about, she went into COVID. She was locked inside. She went and pulled out that sketch pad. I need somebody to get this information tonight. She pulled out that sketch pad in a place that was uneasy, right? She got agitated. She felt a little impatient, right? And then she got to see the manifestation. See, some of you are looking for your gift to pop out today and then ba-boom. I always often say, Tanya and Nick, I'm coming to you with the same question about how this has had an impact on your latest collection. But oftentimes people think, I want to be a designer. I want to create magic. I want to see somebody in it. I'm going to go over to Michael's, get some fabric, stitch it together, voila, that happens. But it's the in between while you're letting your gift make room for you. It's the road that you're on. It's not going to be comfortable. There's going to be hiccups. And I can imagine that when it came, you probably got a little frustrated. The sleeves wasn't big that they needed to be on one thing. The pants was a little funny. Nick, like Tanya's got this sexy, crazy, cool collection. Here you are with this athleisure goodness. Talk about how that has, how your overall inspiration, how it inspired your current collection, and the road to this gift that you didn't think because you was 41 was gonna make room for you. Talk about talk about that.
Let me backtrack a little bit. So
okay, come on back.
The inception of the brand started also during COVID. So June 17th, 2022 is when I actually launched the brand. I kind of I feel like I grew pretty fast because I ended up getting a spot in the mall, right? So I was in the mall. I was working. It was a kiosk, right? Which was weird because I look at my brand as luxury streetwear, and selling luxury streetwear in a kiosk, people are like, but it just gave me opportunity to talk to anyone and everyone that walked by about the brand and tell them about the story. And the funny thing is, Nicole was in the mall, and Nicole, the CEO of Noir, I didn't know who she was at the time, and she kind of was looking, and I called her over. I said, "Hey, can I tell you about the story about the brand?" She said, "Sure." I didn't know nothing about her. I just kind of told her about the brand, and she started picking up pieces, and she was like getting ready to check out. And I asked her, I stopped in the middle of what I was doing. I said, "Let me stop for a second. You kind of fly, you're not from here. What do you do?" And lo and behold, she told me, she's CEO of Noir Fashion Week, and she's been in this industry for I don't know how many, over 30 seasons. And I was like, what? And I was telling her, I was like, damn, that's always been one of my bucket lists to have a fashion show in New York. I never had one, right? And then we kind of kept in contact. And then she told me about the opportunity to apply and see, if I can, have, get selected to do a show in New York. So I applied. And now listen to this. I was literally, I think that I interviewed with when you told me I got it, I was literally heading to the airport to go to Europe for 3 weeks.
Wow. Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay. I lost my phone in a Amalfi Ocean, so I couldn't check any email, I couldn't respond to anything. So Janiza was like, damn, or Nicole was like, y'all ain't heard from Nick? I couldn't reply because I had no phone service. My phone fell in the ocean. I tried to get a phone when I was in Rome, and they was like, no, you need to get a phone in the U.S. because they don't work when you get to the U.S. It doesn't work the same. So by the time I replied back, I was interested. I literally had I got back beginning of July, and the show was in September. That's how short of a window that I had to put something together. But they told me I was selected to have a show. I've never done a show. I don't know what to expect. So what inspired my collection? So which I'm still launching right now, I ended up bringing and showcasing my fall winter collection, 23, and it's called Fashion Therapy World Tour. Just like how they have a Beyonce tour shirt or a Yeezy shirt. Yes. Mine, I have pieces I'll just bring this here. I happen to have it sitting here. So it's a Letterman jacket, but it has a Fashion Therapy World Tour, but it's iconic shopping destinations. So being that I was just in Europe and I'm going to New York, I'm going to all these fashion houses. That's kind of what inspired me with that theme. And if you understand the brand, my fashion affairs, I'm addicted to fashion. I'm addicted to shopping. And it just kind of played the role on a therapy. My therapy is fashion. That's what kind of makes me happy. That's what kind of helps relieve some of my stress to go shopping. I mean, that's what makes me happy. So that's kind of the theme that I had. I had different pieces, and I also incorporated women pieces. So with me going and fitting the models, oh my goodness, I don't know how to sew. I just know the look that I want. I was fitting so many, and you know, Chanaza, I was fitting so many models. Like, nope, she ain't it, he ain't it.
Right.
There's so many, and then I found the right ones that came that day. I was like, damn, this fits perfect. And I had 12 of my pieces, you know, walk down that runway, and I'm still in awe. I go back and rewatch the show on my Instagram. I'm like, damn, I actually did something I always wanted to do. Because the funny thing was, 10 years ago, I was in New York during Fashion Week. I was like, damn, I would love to have a damn show in New York.
You can't put that.
And again, manifestation, Nick. When I'm listening to your story, I hear you leaped out there and went and opened a kiosk in a mall. Like, you went and got real estate. You went and picked up debt. Like, in the mind of some people, you went and got a whole place, right? Then you weren't afraid for the ask. I need somebody to understand that your gift making room for you requires full participation, right? Nobody's just gonna come knock on your door and say, you look like you should be at Noir Fashion Week, or you look like your collection should be going to Kenya or Paris or wherever the place. No one's gonna do that. You have to leap forward and let people, like you did, listen, this is my addiction. This is how I manifested it and monetized it. This is what I went through to get to it, right? And more importantly, you gotta go. You went when it was uncomfortable because you were multitasking in New York. You had another event to tend to back at home. You sacrificed some time. You put your family on the road for 3 weeks. I remember the story. And then here's what I need people that I took from the last thing you said. When you're operating in your gift, time don't matter. It don't matter at all. It don't matter when you start. It just matters that you get started and that your feet keep moving in the next direction. So Tanya, I'm gonna come back to you. Where do you see Brow Boutique in the next 5 years? Like, where do you see your baby?
And I don't know if I have a definitive answer for that, but I will tell you this. I feel like it has, as long as you have movement and it's fluid and you're making strides towards it, whatever that it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Because sometimes we can call it and we don't know. Like this, I didn't know it was gonna happen this year, right? But it happened. I think I just need to stay constant. And long as you stay invested, or my thing is to stay invested, be constant, be focused, be true to what it is that I want from this, right? And just keep having some movement and things happening. I feel like as long as you're moving towards the goal, that's the positive part about it. It's not so much getting to it because you don't know when you're going to get to it. But the idea of working towards it, you can always be working towards it. What I'm learning is that things happen when they're supposed to happen, right? Yes. And 2023 has taught me that things happen when they're supposed to happen, and all you can do is stay focused on what it is that you want from it. Keep trying to get towards it, and be constant in your movement, and it's going to get you there. It's not when, it's not how, it's going to happen. Because if you believe in something that much wholeheartedly, there's no way it cannot happen. You just got to stay focused and keep your eye on the prize. So I'm not putting any deadlines or any guidelines or anything on how this gets to a place where. Okay, let's go back for a second. I feel like right now I've gotten everything I needed to make me feel good. Like I accomplished everything I needed as far as Brown Boutique in 2023. Okay. Right? This whole month can go by and nothing can happen in Brown Boutique and I still am good. Because so much has happened in 2023, right? So I'm sitting in that and I'm okay with that because I know that just like I was able to get here, and it wasn't me. And it really wasn't me because I couldn't have called this the way it happened, right? If God got me here, we're good. We're gonna be all right. 24 brings a whole new chapter to this whole thing, and it might not be the end of the chapter, but it's definitely going towards it's reaching the goal for the chapter.
So let me ask you this. Maybe I'm wrong. Do I see Brow Boutique going across another pond, sending their goods to another country? Maybe.
I have maybe. And I'm learning to say, and I don't know why you asked that question, but today I say yes to everything. I was having this little powwow with myself today, and I was like, you know what? Just say yes to everything, because you never know what that one thing is that's going to take you to where you need to be at, right? So maybe, possibly, 2024 might have me going over a pond. I just don't know. I'm not answering that because I don't know what that looks like yet. Still remember, I opened a business this year. It'll be a year old next week. Right?
Wow.
So I'm reaching
Congratulations.
making my first year anniversary, and that's my thing. I feel like 23 has brought me so much. God has blessed me so much in 23. Yes. Right? I was able to open my 2 franchises. I was able to get my fashion line up and going. I didn't foresee all this happening in 23, right? So if he doesn't do another thing for me this year, he's done enough. I'm good.
I love Nick. Holla at me. Same question for you, sir. Where do you see my fashion affairs in the next 5 years, and give some advice to that emerging designer that is out there thinking, yeah, I'm ready. Or you just this, and FYI, this content is relevant no matter what your business is, but we're dealing with 2 dope designers that started something in the season of COVID and now look where they are.
One thing I'll say is you got to start, whether it's slow or fast, but to Tanya's point, slow motion is better than no motion. So, working on something that you want to do is always going to be better than just talking about it, But in the next 5 years, it's really hard to say because I was actually, trying to forecast where I want the brand in the next 3 years and 5 years. I mean, for sure, I want my brand. So initially I wanted my own store, but being so new into this industry, it was a lot of learning curves, right? I learned a lot. I took a lot of L's, but I'm glad I took them early. That way I know I'm not gonna, let it happen again. I would like to have a lot of my pieces and collections in big box stores like Nordstrom's, Neiman, Saks, Bloomingdale's. I want my stuff in there. So I would like to do wholesale, but eventually I still want my own store of my own. I want my fashion affairs to be, the next fashion house. I want to have all kind of things coming, out this brand, from everything. It doesn't even necessarily have to deal with fashion because by day I am a mortgage broker. So I have another business that I do attain to, and getting my own my own warehouse where I can have an event center. I can park my branded vehicles. I can open up the store when I want to open up on my hours because I own the building. All that plays a part, and I want to not mix the businesses, but definitely cross collaborations because with real estate and having a warehouse space where I can rent it out and as an event center and also open up as a store where I could do my own pop-ups whenever I want to is ideally, the goal that I want to get to within these next 3 to 5 years.
Wow. And that's a beautiful thing because you can take a brand and you can give it as many branches and arms as you desire. I keep hearing this over and over in my head for both of you every time you talk, and it's taking the limits off. I love the fact that you didn't box yourself in and say in 5 years, I'm going to be on this street corner in this house. Take the limits off and let the universe do exactly what it's going to do because your gift is making room for you. So how dare you confine it?
Right.
Closing comments. Thank you first and foremost on behalf of SheSpeaks TV, the Noir family. I want to say thank you so much for lending your inspiration and letting other people know that, not to be so cliche, but it is doable. You got to put your feet in motion. I used to have a friend that told me as long as your tongue in your mouth is going in the same direction as the tongue in your shoes, you're on the right track. Any closing comments from either one of you to share with our listeners today?
I'd probably close with back to cliches. Life is a journey. And sometimes we don't know where it's going to take us, how we're going to get there, what routes. Sometimes God uses us to go places just to be a testimony to somebody. So sometimes you don't know what your end goal looks like. It's because you're not supposed to know just yet, right?
Right.
So I guess I say my closing thing would be just be true to what you want. and what you desire,
Mhm.
and don't worry about all the things, the technicalities of it all. I think that like Nick said, you just gotta want it enough to do something. Do something. Because once you want enough to do something, that something becomes another something. And before
Right.
you know it, you're focused and you're in motion, right? I think a lot of
Mhm.
times we get stuck because we don't stand true in things. Like we say we want it, but how bad do you really want it, right? I can't say
Mhm.
I want it and I'm doing nothing to get it,
Right.
right? So I just think that for all those who are on this journey and don't know um, how to get to the end, don't worry about the end. Let's start from here. Start from right here, like one day at a time, and just keep moving a day at a time, and you'll be fine.
One day at a time. Brother Nick, any closing comments?
So yeah, absolutely. I want to share this, and I tell a lot of people this. I'm a God-fearing man. I serve a mighty God, and my God doesn't make any mistakes.
Right.
And I've quit like 50 times, at least 500 times. I mean, but my thing is like you you're not going to be able to know until you keep going, right? So you got to keep pushing. So I say that to say, if you're going to hit roadblocks, and that's okay, that's part of the business, right? You every business is not always, the grass isn't always greener. You're going to have these different roadblocks, but the thing is, like, you have to keep pushing through it. You got to persevere and put 10 toes down and keep going, because nobody else is going to do it.
Mhm.
They're not going to do it for you. It's not going to be spoon fed to you. You got to have that motivation to want to do it. So I just say, you're gonna, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Facts.
So you don't get, because shoot, I must be talking to myself, because I'd be the same way. I'm like, damn, man, I'm having these damn issues. But like, hey, I got to tell myself, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
That's it.
Roadblock. So it's not going to be always, butterflies and birds chirping on the one side. Like, you're going to have, you're going to have, hiccups. And you just, as an entrepreneur, we solve problems for profit. Figure it out.
Mm. That is a word. That is a mic drop. Listen, I want to say thank you on behalf again. Just thank you so much for lending your talent, for bringing your energy today, for sharing your stories, both of you. Really quickly, please tell people where they can find you so that they can tap in.
Okay, well, we just launched my website, brownboutique.com. We have the online store. Really excited about that. And so if they want to see the pieces, go online. There's a lookbook where you get to see all the different wears, how you can wear it. The model that actually did the modeling for the pieces, amazing, fit the clothes like they belong to her. So brownboutique.com is where you can find it. I'm on Instagram as well. And I'm still new to all of this, so I'm still a work in progress, and I'm okay with that, and I like that, because I like where I'm at, and I have no problem saying that I don't have all the media platforms yet, but we'll get there. We're going to surely get there, but right now Instagram is the place to find me.
Love it. Brow Boutique on Instagram. You can find her there. Nick, where can the people find you, sir?
The name of my brand is called My Fashion Affairs. It's My Fashion Affairs on all social media platforms. My website is My Fashion Affairs. If you want to catch that recap from the fashion show in New York this past year, you'll find it on my Instagram. I have the show on there. But tap in. I'm just like Tanya. I'm still growing my social media platforms. Follow both of us. Watch our journey as we continue to grow.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tune in, get to their social media channels, support their businesses, and understand that, listen, the final points that both of them made tonight that I want to hammer home is you got to keep going. You got to stay in motion. This is not easy. This is not for the faint at heart or for the weak in mind. You got to commit to it, and you got to understand that it is your gift. It's going to make room for you. You cannot put it in a box. You just got to be in motion, because faith without works is dead. The operative word there is work. So if I can encourage you to do anything, baby, walk it out. We'll see you all at the top, because the bottom, as always, is just too crowded. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Take care, guys. Appreciate it.